Hey guys, how many of you watching this have an issue of converting your leads into customers? It's a huge problem in this industry because unlike real estate and other highly sales-driven industries, this industry kind of looks at their dispatchers as their salespeople. And make no mistake about it, whoever's answering the phone, responding to clients, they are doing inside sales, and it should be treated as such. Why am I bringing this up? Well, earlier today, I had a phone call with a client. I won't tell you where he's out of. He's a very successful client. And he said, Mark, in the past 4 or 5 days, I haven't booked one job. And so immediately I kind of freak out and I'm like, shoot, what's going on? This guy was killing it. Um, why is he not booking? And the first thing I thought was, well, maybe he's just not getting great lead volume. That's the first thing I always think of. Maybe there's something that we're doing or the wrong type of leads. So what I did is I had one of our staff members check out, what was his lead volume in the past 4 or 5 days. So in the past 5 days, he had gotten 75 leads. So that's quite a bit. That's an average of 15 leads per day. And so to not have gotten one job, well, and that's another thing. So I kind of assumed he'd probably gotten 1 or 2 jobs. Typically, when a client contacts us and with this issue, I know what's likely happened. They've gotten 5, 6, 7, 8 leads in a row that have not converted into customers. And they eventually get so fed up, they contact us, we're not booking. Now, I should mention, he didn't say we're not getting leads. And so when I found out he had gotten 75 leads in the past 5 days, I'm like, well, he's probably booked 1 or 2, but he's obviously not booking enough of these leads or he wouldn't be contacting us. And so I asked him, I said, well, why do you think they aren't booking? Because you have gotten 75 leads. And he said, I'm not sure. Now, the reason I'm not bringing this client up is I don't want to bag on him because that's what most of our clients say when we ask them that. And so we need an answer for that question. If we don't get an answer for that question, I cannot help him. And one other thing I did do, while he did get 75 leads, and you're like, well, what if the leads are crap? Well, we compared his search queries. So what people were actually searching before they clicked on his ads. We compared those search queries to the search queries he was getting in his best months where people were booking a lot with him. And the search queries were pretty much identical. Just, people searching airport limo service or lots of different variations of that. So it wasn't people searching for taxis or it wasn't people searching out of his area. It was people that were looking for what he offered, where he offered it. And so I got on the phone with him and his wife and we started talking and I let them know, look, we need to find out why people are not booking. So I went into detective mode, which is essentially what he needs to do. It's kind of funny. We need to find what is the problem. And so how we find that out is we start asking questions. And it's really all about asking the right questions. All of this, me finding out what the issue is with him finding out, why his customers are not booking. So first I said, well, how are you currently following up with your customers? Because he said he was following up very quickly. That's usually always one of the first questions I ask. But quickly is relative, right? So what does that mean? For some people, quickly might be 30 minutes, which I know that's not very quick, and you need to be much quicker with your follow-up, especially if you do black car. So so I asked him what was his follow-up looking like, and he said, so right now, and this is with the Limo Marketer app, also called High Level. It's our software that all of our clients use. You can check it out, highlevel.com. But what we do is we modify this software for the industry. So there's a lot of changes we've made to it, a lot of automations that we put in place. But one automation that all of our customers have is when someone requests a quote, fills out their quote request form, we immediately send a text message that says, hey, client name, this is my customer's name with their company name. And the reason we do that is people want to know they're talking with a human being. I do have some of my clients who say, hi Joe, this is executive black livery service. And I don't recommend that as much because it's not putting like a face, granted it's not a face, but it's not putting a human behind the contact. So people typically will treat it differently. That's why I really recommend having your name in the text message. And so their text was saying, we've received your request. Would you prefer that we call or text you your quote? Okay, and they've been using this for over a year, and it's been working. But is it working as good as it could be, right? And so what they told me is most people say, just text me the quote. And again, this text goes out right away, which is a whole nother story, but it's very important to do this because when someone submits a form, it just says, thank you for your quote. They're kind of like annoyed. They're like, wait, when am I getting, okay, where's my quote, right? So they get the text right away. And they said, well, 95% of the people respond they want a text, not a call. So like, um, why should we call them? And I'm kind of getting ahead of myself, but I asked them how they were following up, and most of the quotes were being sent by text. And I said, here's the problem with that. If you're just texting out the quotes, which don't get me wrong, it works for a lot of my customers, does it work as well as a combination of calling and texting? No, it doesn't. So they were saying that most people respond that just text us. They don't want to be on the phone. And so they were a bit hesitant when I said, you need to start calling all of your leads because obviously if 95% of people are saying just text me the quote, then they don't think that's going to work very well. And I told them, it's always good to set expectations. I told them, count on only 1 in 4 or 1 in 3 people answering when you call, but that's still going to be 4 to 5 times more people you're going to be speaking with as opposed to just texting with. Because when you're in a conversation with someone, you can ask questions that you really can't ask as well over the phone. Also, it lets you be a little enthusiastic. And so let's get into 4 things that over the years I've seen really predicts the highest close rates. So where's my black marker? Here it is. Okay, so number 1, and this is the most important, it's the easiest thing that you can control. It doesn't really take any skill. It just takes very quick follow-up. Now, if you can do in 5 to 10 minutes, that's ideal. The less or the lower this is, the better. So under 5 minutes, I mean, I guarantee you'll compare to someone who takes 30 to 45 minutes, especially if you do black car, right? For you guys that do airport transfers, think about it. Someone's requesting a quote. They've got to book hotel, flight, all these other things. This is just one thing on their list. And a lot of times they want to get it out of the way. And by following up quickly, it is communicating the level of service you offer, right? When you follow up quickly, it already tells you something about that vendor. So speed is very important. Number 2, and this is actually, let's see if I can spell. This is actually one that, because I made these videos over the years, this is one that is kind of new. I'm including on my list. And here's why. I've actually done a lot of calls myself, checking prices of different limo companies for my own, when I travel. And I always like to use limo services because I like to actually experience what my clients experience. And what I noticed is a lot of people aren't enthusiastic. You would think these people don't even want to get the money you're about to pay them. And I think I know why. I think the issue is when someone's doing a lot of quotes and people are not converting, and then especially if they're saying it's too expensive, what happens is that really builds, and that can annoy you, that can frustrate you, and you're spending all of this time and money, right, on these leads, and everyone is saying that you're too expensive. And what that can do, without you even realizing it, is that can kind of color the way you respond to them. And you can be more abrupt, not be as friendly. These are things that are really not good if you're trying to get money. From your marketing campaigns, you need to think about the 4 Seasons, think about the Ritz. How do they treat their customers? I'm not saying you need to be like some rock star sales guy like Grant Cardone or Jordan Belfort or Zig Ziglar. It's not about that. It's really just about being extremely helpful, enthusiastic, and asking the right questions. But the third thing I recommend doing is just confirm their details. Why is this not working? Confirm details. Okay. And this is important because they filled out a form, but you just want to make sure everything's confirmed. It gives you another reason to talk to them. And trust me, most people will appreciate this because they are seeing that you care so much about everything being in order, everything being dialed in. So confirm the details. And this is where you can kind of do a little consulting, right? Because maybe they don't need a pickup as early as you're going to pick them up, right? You always know your city better, especially if it's someone that is not from the area. You showing some of your special knowledge here is providing value over and above what you can provide by just sending them a text message, right? Because maybe, and this is especially true for stretch limo, party bus people, charter bus, coaches. This is especially true for you guys. I mean, pretty much all of those leads should be called, but even for black car, this can be helpful. Um, and then number 4, it's asking the right questions. What do I mean by that? Well, you really want to find out who they are, what their purpose for travel is, do they travel often? And here's why. So most of you watching this do black car, sedan, SUV, sprinters, and that's your bread and butter. Well, I have news for you. Marketing online is very expensive. Google ads is very expensive. Bing ads is a little cheaper, but still very expensive. And the cost to get a client from these platforms many times can be $40 to $100. And if you're charging $150 or $200 or even less for one transfer, you're losing money. So the only way it's worth it is if you can get repeat clients, corporate accounts, things like this. But the only way to get those accounts is to find out who is calling you, why are they traveling? Are they booking transportation for themselves, right? If no, then that's most likely corporate client. Are you picking them up at their home or their office, right? If it's the office, corporate client, right? Without even asking them, is this business or pleasure, right? Because that might be a little more invasive of a question, but if you ask these other questions, you will find out those details without seeming too invasive. Do you need a round trip? You should be asking every single person if they need a round trip, and maybe even incentivize it. We do 10% off on the second ride, or this is our new client discount. Have you ever used us before? Okay, great. Well, we'd love to offer you a 10% client discount. Now, with these questions, it's very, very important that you are feeling the person out. Okay, there's a lot of verbal cues, how people say things, how fast they talk. These things are all very important in trying to ascertain how many questions should you ask. Should you be brief, or are they enjoying the conversation, right? And what if you find out it's an executive assistant who works at a law office in your city? And I say law office, that's the most popular, corporate account that, a lot of limo companies want, but there's lots of different businesses that use these types of services. Asking them, finding out, are you booking it for someone else? Oh yeah, it's for my boss. Oh, okay. Does he travel often? Oh, well, yeah. Oh, okay. Do you guys typically have a vendor that you use for this, or oh yeah, we do, but he wasn't available, or he's been late a few times, or they went out of business, COVID. So these are all things to consider and to think about, because those sorts of clients, maybe the owner of your business wants to do the ride himself, right? If you're transporting a VIP, someone that could be a big account, and always for these potential big accounts, you want to call after the ride's complete and find out how it was, how did it go. These are things they will notice, and then set up an account. We'd love to set up an account for you and provide you, be your transportation vendor, right? Especially if they had a great experience. These things are all important. Now, one thing I want to mention with all this, guys, I don't own a limo business. I've never done this myself. I don't even like to train it per se, just because I don't typically like training things I haven't done. But what I can tell you is this: I've listened to hundreds and hundreds of calls, probably over 1,000 calls that my clients have done. This is what works. And if you guys haven't yet, go back, listen to Ken Lucci. Timothy Chin has a lot of great tips in his videos as well. These guys have been in the trenches and have done it. So a lot of this is just kind of rehashing what they have said, and also what I have observed by listening to all of these calls. So anyways, guys, I hope this was helpful. If you're not converting the number of leads you think you should be, start here. Get on the phone, find out why they're not converting. And if you're not doing all of these things, then I guarantee you're not booking as many jobs as you should be. In my next video, I'm going to do a quick rundown of how our software works, kind of how it follows up, how it helps you get reviews, and how it automates a lot of these kind of monotonous tasks in your business. So be sure to check that out. And thanks for watching, guys. I'll see you next time.